Good morning, good afternoon, good evening across the country, around the world. Welcome back to Planet Coaster. Got a nice paused overview of the whole park, and at this point, this is more or less what that concept map looked like, but we're going one step further, just one step. I wanted to stay as true to the thing as I could, but let's be honest, there's no actual roller coaster in this park, and this is Planet Coaster, so I'm going to do what I said I would from the beginning. We're going to add a Big Thunder Mountain style railroad ride over here on this little island. I don't have a name for it. I might just end up calling it Big Thunder Railroad. I'm not sure. I'll decide that in the next episode. Anyway, we flesh out the island a little bit, give it a little more space so that it's a little, well, I wanted to be a little closer there so that this pedestrian bridge wouldn't be stretching too far over the water. Yeah, there it goes. Good. So that's the first thing, getting the people's, there. And then across the island and a little dog leg. And we're going to take it over and across the water on the other side and over by the train tracks, because I eventually put a train station on the other side. But that's not right now. That's next episode. Here, we're going to jump right in, I believe. And once I find it, there it is. Build the mine train. It's like I said in my, the beta playthroughs I did, it looks... The cars, the locomotive, everything looks just like Big Thunder Railroad at Disneyland. I don't know if they quote stole it. I don't think you can. It's just the look. But the vehicles, everything looks just like Big Thunder Railroad in Disneyland. Anyway, and that is, of course, what is heavily inspiring this ride. It even goes down into a cave right away, little zig-zig, and then up into the lift hill. I was trying to get this thing to build. There we go. So I had 6 cars, and kind of like what Silverette recommends, I'm building it with the block brakes, the block stations before the station, a little bit past a slope there, so that once it release, they coast down into the station nice and smooth like. Anyway, that's a good way to start, just by starting with the end. At least I've found. And then we do a couple of these, like I said, some dog legs, and then we get into the first of 2 lift hills. Like I said, this is kind of inspired, well no, this is very inspired by Big Thunder Railroad. Instead of 3 lift hills in that ride, I only have the 2 eventually. Yeah, good. Testing up and finish. So we build the whole thing out, all of it, the whole track I mean, and tweak it and play with it. That's what a lot of this episode is, just playing with the hills and drops and things to try to get a better ride. The ride rating, the excitement rating, doesn't get too terribly high, but it's, I guess when you think about it and look at it, Big Thunder Railroad, exciting, not a 10, but it's good. It's very good. It's one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. And here I am, squiggling through. Where's the path? Okay, and I kind of had a layout at that point, at least a general one. Up and down. Unfortunately, that hill is going to be way too high, as we discover in a few minutes, or a few moments, when I try to run a train through it and see if it gets past. It doesn't. It's just too high. Then we're going to loop it back around here and straighten out. There it is. And this is where we're gonna come into, well, a couple of little bunny hills, maybe. I think I end up with some bunny hills. Not that big, though. Some little bunny hills. Then it makes a 180, and that's when it goes into kind of the mine entrance where the explosions are. Yep, see, there, it didn't make it over that hill. So we just lower the whole thing and smooth, and it should make it just past that. It's not terribly exciting, but it makes it. Yeah, good. And then here I think we alter these. Yeah, I altered these little bunny hills because they were a bit much. And I think I just put in the one, maybe a smaller one. No, that's it. Yeah, we straighten it out and loop it around for the mine entrance. And this, like I said, this is very. I've tried to make this a lot like the 3rd lift hill at Big Thunder, where you go up, and now that they've redone it in the last few years, it's got the explosions and whatnot, and the dust and the steam and all that stuff that really comes across as mining. Watch out. You don't see it in this episode, but in the next one, I've already worked on that, but I'm not done with it yet. But I do put in some explosions and things to make it, like I said, very reminiscent of that final thing. All right, so here we're just doing a little dog leg to the right, and then we're going to do the downward helix like you see right there by Rainbow Ridge, the town of Rainbow Ridge, and the queue at Big Thunder. which is actually a part that's in the middle of the ride. It's after the second lift hill instead of after the first. Or the third, I mean. Yeah, the third, the last one. But here we're putting it toward the end because I thought it kind of fit out here on this corner of the island. Yeah, and when it's done, it looks pretty nice, I think. I wanted to do some custom supports for it, and you'll see that also in the next episode. But it did not. I can't get them close enough to look like they're actually supporting or doing anything. I've seen Silverette do it where he's gotten really close to where they're just shy of touching, and it looks like they're supports. But for this ride, for whatever reason, it's leaving it like a foot away, and there's still a big gap. So I unfortunately could not go with custom supports. But now we're about to finish the coaster out, leveling out. Come on. I think I was distracted a lot while I was making this. I think my wife kept asking me questions. So leveling out, and completed the track. And now we do a full test through, and I think you can, can't quite see it here, but I think it's like it's a 4 point something. It's not great. Like, what is that, 4.11? And it's not great. So we go to the heat maps and look at things. Don't we? There they go. Yeah, heat maps. And unfortunately, because there's lift hills, there's a lot of that space and time that's slow and boring. For this ride, you get excitement on airtime, on hills, on lifts and drops and things. Not lifts, but drops and hills. So that helps. Doesn't make it amazing, but it helps. I think, yeah, we do airtime there, and then we smooth that out. Smoothie, smoothie, smooth. Smoothie, smooth? No smoothie, smooth? Okay, I guess I'd leave that kind of rough. That's okay, though. And we slowly get it up. I think by the end of this episode, it's a 4.8. And then eventually, once I add some other things, it becomes a 5.25. So not amazing, but decent. And certainly, it's a roller coaster, so it's certainly going to be popular because there's not much else in this park in terms of roller coasters and really exciting rides. Well, yeah, even this little overbanked turn there, that helps. It does help. Every little bit helps. But unfortunately, there's just going to be a lot of red because of the lift hills. I'm surprised it doesn't think those drops are more exciting. You would think that even though it's not like super steep, you would think it would enjoy a drop. Maybe it's because those trains, you know what? I bet I know. I bet because those trains are so long, because there's 6 cars, but that's how it's going to look. I bet that because the way the center of mass for the train, you know, is 7 cars long, 6 passenger cars, and the locomotive car, you don't get really fast descents on the front of the train, and I bet that's where things are being measured from the nose of the train, not from all the cars. So you don't get that immediate drop down, woohoo, over the top feeling. You kind of hang there in the front, and then you're released and dropped down. That's why whenever I ride on Big Thunder Mountain, I always try to sit in the back, or at least the back third. Let's see what. Oh yeah. Still trying to just add whatever drops, and there we go, smoothie smooth. Whatever kind of drops and hills I can to give you the varying and the whoa, the different G-force stiff. There we go. Because that's, I think, for this one, it's all about the air time. Other coasters, well, I don't know about how the game works, but I think it might work a little bit differently for each ride. For each coaster, might have slightly different requirements. Smooth there. Yeah. Anyway, I am overall happy with the layout. It came together pretty well. The kind of the Y-shaped thing. Yeah, at that point, I think we're done futzing with the layout of the attraction. We get the queue in here, and honestly, it's just going to go. I had trouble getting it to line up. There we go. Now she's going down and going to that path, which eventually will be inside a tunnel. And same thing with the exit path. Oh yeah, tweak the things a little bit. Here we go. Same thing with the exit path. It's just going to go down and across, and it looks like it's going alongside, but it again will also get hidden inside a cave. And then down to that tunnel path there that cuts through what's going to be the whole mountain. So here I was just kind of watching it, and I should have noticed here, and I didn't. But on that back lift hill, you can just see the other coaster waiting until the next lift hill is cleared. I noticed it later, and I do go through and add a brake station before the, a block section before the second lift hill. That way there's no stoppage. I think that's decent chunk of what got the ride up to a higher excitement rating, because you're not just parked there at the top of that hill. Yeah, now I can't help but see it every time I'm watching this. That's where my eyes go, is to that. Right, so we've colored the ground, and it was that rocky color. And then, of course, once you start playing with the ground, it changes back. I thought that would be something that they would work on, but I guess not. So yeah, I built that whole layout that way, and now we're going to suck the ground up and close it up where I want it. I figured that was the easiest way to do it instead of trying to build something in auto tunnel and all that garbage. But here we tunnel over. Yeah, that whole pathway is a tunnel through the mountain. Yeah. So that's kind of a thick part there in the middle. And then, yeah, close it up there, a little more up there. And there's even like a path, a track crossing over a track. It's just, oh, yeah, you couldn't see it now. But I'm actually pretty happy with the way this turned out. It's not, like I said, that terribly exciting. My coaster building expertise is not expertise. I'm very much amateur at this part. I'm honestly amateur at all of this. I'm no Silverette, but I try. Okay, yeah. And then we build this up, because this drop is going to be peeking out of the, yep. There we go. Something like that. It's a little bulbous on top there, but we end up, yeah, shaping the mountain a little better. And then that little overbanked curve, it's going to just hug the ground just barely. I do wish, though, that you could get the ground a little bit closer to the tracks, but it looks all right. It ends up, I mean, even like that, it looks pretty good. Yeah. So this guy, he dives in and out of the ground, out of caves and back out into the sunlight. I need to add a lot of lighting still. That's on my my list. Add lights, all the oil lanterns, so that things aren't completely in the dark. And then the second lift hill, we are tunneling over as well. This one, again, eventually is going to have some effects, some explosions, some exploding barrels and things. So this is the second lift hill, that's just like the third lift hill of the real Big Thunder Railroad. Yeah, kind of wrapped around. I think I'm going to wall that in a little bit too, so it's not terribly visible. Oh yeah, and I wanted this to be visible to the path underneath. Not that it doesn't add anything to the ride, not even a little bit, but I thought it's a cool visual to be able to see it. Yeah, and then I think I'm happy with that area. That tunnel squared up pretty well, and I'm okay with that. I think I am going to add like some restrooms and maybe a hat shop or something inside the cave, just because I think that'd be fun. Yeah, and that's about the majority of it for terraforming. After this, we go through and smooth up some things. Some things I wanted smooth, and some things we want to be a little rough, because it is, nature. It is natural. It should look a little rough. It shouldn't look totally manicured and perfect. But especially around the coaster track where it, kind of dove into the ground there, I wanted that to be smooth, just so there weren't any weird random jagged edges look like they were going to come out and attack the guests. At least not unless it's something that's intentional. But I don't really think there's much of that that's intentional. I think there's a few places, I mean, the caves do this anyway, where the rock stuff are like head choppers, where you think you're going to, you want to pull your hands down, you think you're going to bust your head on the overhang or the cross beams or whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the general layout. And here we're going to do, a quick POV at 6x acceleration. Unfortunately, I think because I was writing POV, my recording software was getting a little glitchy. It wasn't terribly happy. There's that stop again. And it was just, the first half was really choppy. And then I think it got better. Yeah, after that, the second lift hill and stuff, it got much smoother. Why it was bad the first time, I don't know. Next time I think I'll try riding it through a couple times to make sure I get a nice, clean ride through for people. So at this point, we're pretty much done manipulating the ride itself. I think, although I do add these block section later, but for the most part, the ride path is going to stay what it is. And I was about ready to, I was watching here to see how it behaved with people, how they loaded and whatnot, just to see how it functioned. And it functions all right. Once it gets busier, more popular, they dispatch a bit quicker, and it functions pretty nice. They hardly even wait in that block section there right before the station. There, it's like coasting straight into the station, which is perfect. Anyway, at this point, I was almost done for the night, but then I said, no, you know what? Here, I know what I want to do, so let's just power through. and we support the exit here. We end up building a coaster station that's a pretty, at least as far as the way I build, pretty stock and standard coaster station with, you know, walled in and the coaster pieces, the cutout pieces that provide the entrance and exit there. But it has a nice roof that's not a simple A-line roof to it in the end, and I was quite pleased with that. Yeah. Let's see. And we do this out of those simple wood batten. It looks natural enough. It looks, you know, rough enough without being completely raw. I think there's the other wood that's just like raw wood, and it looks okay, but I think this I wanted to look a little cleaner, so we used the natural wood batten. Good. Yep, there goes the bottom coaster enclosure entrances part. And we eventually close up the top here. Oh, I think I paused here because my wife asked me a question about something, and I didn't bother to edit this out. I apologize for the hold up there, but it was only for a little bit. And then, yeah, here we go. Continuing to wall in the rest of the station. Everything else is those types of coaster entrances, and then these nice little archways, so that there's a nice open, you can see straight through the station. And fortunately, the entrance and exit gates on both sides, they snap to the grid of the station so that you can put those archways and they'll fit just perfectly. Oh, and here's the whatever. I usually do a lot of A-line roofs for these, so this is a nice break from that, kind of with that loft space up top. When it's done, I think it looks pretty nice. I think it looks pretty nice, but I think a lot of the things I do look pretty nice. I don't know, it looks kind of like a barn or like a schoolhouse, or it looks a little more utilitarian, like, you know, some mill shop or something like that would have that top space there for ventilation or something. And that's it for except for this. I was playing with the coaster doors, but unless there's some tricks that I'm not seeing for it, it's not really terribly cooperative. It doesn't want to stay open longer, and it's only in white. If there's another color to get it to, or another way to get it to be another color, I don't know what that is. Perhaps I just need to look closer at things, but there's no color selection options that I saw, so it's just white, and that's a teeny bit obnoxious. When I tried using a trigger, and you got to drag it all the way around the track, which is a little annoying, I added that trigger to the ride, I think. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, we added that to it. I think we did. Yeah, I figured out triggers on the next episode when I add the explosions and stuff. But for this, it just wasn't quite working. It would open on time, but then it would close, crunch, halfway through the vehicle. So, yeah, maybe I can try lengthening that, but I'm not sure how. Anyway, that's going to be about it for this episode. Next episode, I'm going to go into scenicking this a bit more, doing some lights, doing the special effects and all those things. But that's next episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you hit subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Pass the word. I will catch you later.